11 to 6 p.m.
Then now you can go back and try it.
Which one? The one that's from 6 p.m. or 6 p.m. This one 6 p.m.
Come back. I'm going to say that it's live right now.
On my channel.
You have to go home. You can't refresh. You have to refresh it. The first video. And then click on
This one?
just click on any of your videos. And then go click down. Go to your channel in here. Click on left right there. You want to say we're going to start here in a little bit?
Yeah, guys, we're just having a little bit of technical difficulties. Technical difficulties. Let me say again, technical difficulties. So, please be patient here.
Do you have an airplane mode?
Everything right here. All right, guys, please be patient.
You want to go to your Wi-Fi that we can see the chat. We got some saints on there. Brother Israel's on there. Michael Israel.
How are you doing?
So go to your video. Go to videos. Go to your channel and go to videos. And then just mute it. So you can even pause it.
No, you
don't need to hear it.
I don't need to hear it.
That's what I'm saying. If you pause it, I won't see it. You'll still see the live. You'll still see the chat. Yeah, you'll still see the chat. Just make sure you have you see how it says live chat? Mm-hmm. Yep.
I need that beat in my life.
You know what I'm talking about?
The beat. That's good. I can kind of see this at the same time.
Tell me, I'm gonna get some scriptures from it, so you have to just tell me as we go.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna start Acts. So when you're ready, you're gonna have to kind of open it up.
Yeah, I'll open it up. All right, shalom, saints. We are here for another KGB Live Show with your host, Brother Kabir.
That's it.
All right, saints. Thanks so much for being here for another KGB Live Show tonight. We got a good show for y'all. This Shabbat, you guys see the topic. It's a hot topic. This topic's been going on for a while, I guess. But I mean, since we left the conference. But community. for rich or for poor. So Brother Kabir is going to be touching on the subject, whether community living, if it only benefits the poor or if it only benefits the rich, or both. So we'll get into that here in a little bit. Just some quick announcements. If you guys missed the last Shabbat service from Pastor Dow, make sure you guys go get caught up and go to straightway.com to see the last live stream, or you can go to a YouTube channel called Straightway Live. So youtube.com/Straightway Live. So check that out. If you guys missed the last Shabbat service, I believe it'll bless you. Pastor was on fire. I guess since he came back from the conference, he's been all just on a high. So, but we also had last week Sister to Sister. If you guys missed that, make sure you guys go check it out. And also check out the last live stream that we had on the KGB Live Show, brother. It was a road edition. That was neat.
The road edition. That was kind of cool.
That?
I thought that was cool. You know, it's a different format. And
then we had the great reveal of Brother
David. Now everybody knows that Brother David looked. So, guys, let's just pretend you never saw him, okay? He's supposed to be like that guy on the
That was a decoy.
Like the home improvement guy where, you know, all you see is this. That's all you're supposed to see. He wasn't supposed to see the whole thing, but, you know.
I guess it was occasional.
Occasional, yes, exactly.
Right? Yes. The occasion called for it. But anyway, y'all. But yeah, we just have a good show for you guys lined up. Man, Brother Kabir, it's been an interesting week. We just got back. When did we get back? We got back Monday.
We got back Monday. Yeah, that's when we got back Monday.
Tell people what our average sleep was while we were there.
Our average sleep was probably, I think mine was 2 to 3 hours.
Okay, you had 1 more hour than me, or I had 1 more hour.
Yeah, 1 more than me. Yeah, so I was thinking I was averaging 2 to 3 hours. You know, because brother David does snore.
Yeah, right. Okay,
and so that kept me okay. Now I'm just messing around. I don't want to be a false witness here. So, but no, it was busy. Yeah, we were just running around and ripping and running. You know,
yeah.
So
I mean, it was a first Hebrew conference. Yes. I know you've been to a lot of Christian conferences.
I've been to a lot of Christian conference, financial conference.
But this is my first conference ever.
Yep.
Christian, non-Christian, whatever. So for me, I didn't even know how much time it was going to require of me.
Yeah.
I thought we were just going to be there for a couple hours and then go back home. And
I mean, when they said kind of made sense, I didn't know what to expect too. But once I said, oh, this is a conference.
Yeah.
Like, so they have, speakers, then they have breakout sessions where people, even we were talking about like, which session you're going to go to, so you can kind of see people talking about different topics like marriage, finance,
right.
Homestead, like with Pastor,
right,
things
right.
That's why when I was telling you, so I guess here, but I said, well, I want to go hear, what other people saying, but anyway.
It still worked out.
Yeah, it still worked out because they got canceled. But, just
right.
People just really learning how to they just had different workshops that they call it. Yeah, workshops. So it was I thought Ron Dalton and Pastor Howard did a great job.
Yeah, they did.
They put it for the first time and trying to make this thing as with excellence as they could, with the limited resources and time and people and so I thought they did a great job and I hope they will. I think just more to come and it should be better.
Yeah.
Every year should get better and that's why I even think they even asked for people to give feedback so that they can know what to do next time. So
some pros and cons, right? So but yeah, I mean I guess if you want to we can go into that, brother, but if not we'll start a show here. Opening words, brother. So the topic today is community, for rich or for poor.
Yes, sir.
What's the first thing that comes to mind when you think about the word community? What's the first thing without having a bias?
If you ask me now, I'll say home.
Okay, right. That's true. That's good.
But before, when I thought of community, I just thought it was just a bunch of, to be honest with you, hippies or people who doesn't have money, just people just coming together and just trying to
make ends meet.
Just make ends meet. That's what I used to think. It wasn't until I got introduced to it. I got introduced by a Christian. Actually, everybody, you guys, if you've been following my show and just following me, Ron Young, Providence Academy headmaster. He's actually the first one to bring it up to me from a religious perspective.
Right.
And so he was talking about doing it, but now it's still a religious perspective. Then from a perspective of maybe just be for poor people,
right.
People
and we've talked about it, and at least from my perspective, when you said the way that Ron presented it, Ron Young presented it, to me, I took it more as like an outreach.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like
helping people.
Shelter.
Yeah, it's like a shelter, but just people that just hitting hard times that just want to kind of put together. And so that's how I was just trying to visualize it and say, okay. And I never thought like, oh, that's something I want to do. Like I got money. I don't need to be in community. You know, I'm good. You know, I can, you know, So exactly. I never even thought of having people be with me. Mm-hmm. I just was just thinking it just wasn't for me, but it was good. I mean, if that's what works, you know. But now when I think of community, I think of that. Actually, that's how my dad grew up. You know, just in Nigeria. Mm-hmm. Nigeria. I mean, it was very communal living. You know, I mean, they call it you may want to call it a compound. They call it, but you know, just a village is a village, and you know, but he lived amongst cousins, and I mean, everybody lived in the same place. You know, so
now before we get there, because I know we're going to start leading into it, but just so I can, I guess, set a foundation for you, but. We've had a lot of conversations about this. Obviously, now I've been at Straight with Praiseland fellowshipping for over 2 years, but actually living on community at Straight with Praiseland for over a year, just a little bit over a year. We just kind of made our year mark here, but there's a lot of conversations that we had, Brother Kabir. I think it would be good to touch on it, but speak to the people who are listening tonight about the difference between the fellowship in Christianity in terms of how much time you took to get to know people, and then the contrast of what it meant, because I feel like that was the foundational part, right, of any kind of community setting, as opposed to the time that a fellowship with Hebrew Israelite, you know, commandment keeping with the Shabbat, and how that compared in terms of time and getting to know people.
That's a great question. So I remember when I came into this stuff, I just lost my family. So I was literally in a 30,000 square feet home by myself. It's like it's worse. I don't know what is the worst in, but I mean, I don't know what being in jail like, but can you imagine when you have the whole community that you once, you know, I was a community guy. I was a public figure. Right. I did things in the community, and all of a sudden when they all turn against you and they think you're crazy and you got your name being smeared around in the community. And so it felt very lonely. I mean, it's like, I think it's one of the worst things to experience that, you know, people go around telling lies about yourself.
I think you said it was interesting when you said it. It gave me a concrete perspective. What you said about a big quiet moment is loud or something.
Yeah. The quietness all of a sudden becomes loud, you know, like, I mean, just silence became your thoughts became even louder, you know, not hearing children running through the house. And you know, so it was very traumatic. So anyway, but it was during the same time that I came into the truth. And it wasn't until, so I did that for 6 months actually, you know, and was watching Pastor Dow by myself in the prayer room. You know, I have a thing called the prayer room. Yes, sir, yep. So I started off with just watching it on my little laptop, and then we had another guy that kind of came and checked me out and just wanted to kind of, you know, fellowship with me a little bit, and he did that for a little bit. But it wasn't until Pastor Dow came, and then that's when I met you in December of 2018. Was it 2017? 2017. 2017. Yeah. So towards the end of So going to 2018, and so that's when that's when you guys started coming over, right? So just having, you know, people coming over, my house is filled up again with. Pastor Dow attracted a lot of people, and then after that they left, and it was like another void again. But then you guys start coming back. It was you, Brother Jordan. Then I believe Brother Ryan was coming. We had another guy named Brother David, another Brother David. Him and his family was coming. And so it was like, wow, just doing fellowship. And so, but one thing that I noticed when we were doing fellowship, because you guys would come, eventually people fell off, but you guys stayed around. Sure. But one thing I noticed because we were commandment keeper, you guys came from, where were you staying at the time?
We were in Rockford, Illinois.
So that was about a 3-hour drive.
3.5 hours.
So it took you
one way.
So you guys were coming 3.5 hours. So they will come on 6th day and leave on 1st day. Am I right?
Correct.
So you guys will come on 6th day. So obviously there's a big home. There's a lot of rooms. So I remember Sister Evelyn, you guys had your room, and Brother Jordan and Brother Ryan. Everybody had places to stay and everything. So they would stay here. So literally I would spend, I was averaging at least 12 to 16 hours. Because we would just be up talking about the word. You know, I guess the time that we didn't.
The only time we weren't
around, we were sleeping. Yeah, when we were sleeping. So we feasted together, and so it took. What would take me in Christianity now? Christianity what would it take? It would be like maybe 2 hours, 3 hours, and if you want to throw in Wednesday, maybe 4 hours, tops a week. But most of that time is spent listening to a pastor preach.
Right.
And then when you try to talk after the service, you probably get maybe 30 minutes to an hour before they kick you out and say, hey, you don't have to leave, but you can't stay here. Or, what they say, they say you don't have to go home. No, but you have to go home, but you can't be here or whatever. Right. They kick you out. And so you really can't fellowship and get to know. But we were doing that consistently 10 to, easily 12 hours. After Shabbat, we'd be up to 2 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the morning, talking about the word. Can you believe that?
Can you imagine that?
Can you imagine that? Literally our time was spending time on work. And so that's how I got to know you guys, and just your commitment level to come week in and week out. There was some you couldn't come because of bad weather, because it was during the winter. But for the most part, you guys did the cooking. You brought the food here and anything that you need to tidy up on. But you guys kept coming every week. And so I was just blown away so a lot of people in the Christian community would have thought like, okay, how can he just all of a sudden just be so engulfed in this cult or straightway? They didn't even know, because in their world, they think
how do you know these people?
It takes time. Well, I'm spending 12 to 16 hours a week.
And it's not broken
up. And it's not even broken up. It's literally during the Shabbat. Fifth day, you got fifth day, the end of fifth day, in the sixth day going into all of Shabbat. And then you got the first part of first. You got all of first day, because you got the nights, and then you get your little sleeping time. And then we have our brunch, and then you guys are off on your way. And I couldn't wait for Shabbat. I literally couldn't wait till you guys come back on sixth day, because I'll be back to being by myself again. And then and then obviously I had, I had children coming in, but I'm saying for the most part, I was literally looking for the Shabbat. And so it was during that time, that early time, where I felt like we spent so much time, because
that was a good 7 months.
7 months.
7 months of fellowship and consistency.
And if you take the time that we put in, and let's do the math. If I was to do the math,
let's do the math. You're all about numbers. Let's see.
You guys know I'm a financial advisor, so I got to put the math in. So if you take Christianity, right? Let's be honest. Okay, it's 24 hours, right?
If you were
take
one of those,
I'm just doing the Shabbat, and take away 8 hours. So that's 16 hours.
Let's give them the benefit of the doubt, though, because most Christian church, at least the ones that I grew up in, and maybe the ones that you've been around,
give me the best.
They had Wednesday service.
So throw all that in there.
You got Wednesday service, at least for an hour. At least an hour. And then maybe half an hour of talking afterwards.
Okay,
right?
Okay.
Then you had maybe 2 services on Sunday, and if you really wanted to, you could go to both of them, right? And each of them were maybe 45 minutes.
Okay, so how many hours?
So we're at,
and let's even include the time that they're speaking too.
You're gonna make me.
Just give it. Okay. So 4 hours a week.
Let's do at the max 4 hours a week.
4 hours a week. Okay, that's in Christianity. You probably, and I'm even including worship. 30 minutes of worship. The preacher come preach his 30 minutes to maybe an hour. I don't even know if you get that. That's too much, right? And then they get a little talk time, and boom, 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 boom. They got the little coffee in the lobby that you can drink, get your latte. You get all this thing going on. 4 hours. Is that good? You want to throw in another? 4 hours. Okay, let's do 4 hours.
Let's do 4 hours.
4 hours.
More than generous, I think.
Yeah, so 4 hours per week where Christians spend once a week, and that's broken up. That's their Sunday, and then we're throwing in if they do Wednesday night service, right? A little bit Wednesday night service, right? That's 4 hours. Now I'm just taking the Shabbat just to be fair, because if I threw in sixth day, and if I threw in first days, so I'm not going to put that in. I'm just going to put in the Shabbat that we literally experienced. So I'm not including, 6th day when they came in, and I'm not including first day when they stayed after first day. I'm not even including first day where you stay and we up to 2 o'clock in the morning.
That's part of it, but I get it.
Okay, but 16 hours, right? So it took 16 hours. So you take that, it would take Christianity to catch up to our 1 week. It would take them about four times. Let me see that. Is that right?
Let's see.
About 4 times. So that means they would have to meet 1 month to catch up to our 1 week.
1 day.
1 day, yes. Just our 1 day. It would have taken Christianity 1 month to add up to our 1 day.
And that's not even including, like you said, 6th day.
I'm not even including 6th day, and this is not including 6th day. And I took out 20. I took the 24 hour, because Shabbat is a 24 hour period, and I took out time of sleeping, and I don't sleep that long. So I went to the max, right? How many hours?
We would stay up late. We would stay up late.
We would stay up late.
We just love the fellowship.
We just love the fellowship, and it was all about Jesus. Right. And so that means it would take. So by the time we got our 1 month in, we would have been. They would have been 3 or 4 months behind.
Easy.
So you can see how quick it was able for us to be able to build a rapport, to be able to know one another, because we talked about a lot of things during that time. And so in Christianity, there's just no way they can keep up, because even in their Shabbat, whatever they call their holy day or their day of rest, it's not really a day of rest, because they'll go to a football game or go to the restaurant or anything like that. So it's not really even truly a holy day, you know?
Right. No, you're right. Yeah. I mean, I'm curious to know what it looks like, because we did seven months of fellowship before we came to the agreement, right? With the leading of Pastor Dow. So what does that add up to?
So what? Before
7 months. Of 7 months of just Shabbat.
That's what I'm saying. So 7 months. So if I do that 6, so if you do
times 7,
no, times 7, that's 112 hours.
Okay.
And then you take and then you time. That's what's that? What did I do that? Wait, hold on. Let me do it again. 16 times 4. 16 times 4 is 1 month. That's 64 hours.
Okay.
And then if you times that by 7, you get 448 hours. I'm going to divide that by 24 so we can kind of see. That's 18 days.
Okay, 18 full days without
18
sleep,
full days. No.
Hours.
I'm just trying to say.
Right.
Yeah. So about 18 days. It took us 18 days to be able to fulfill. What did I do? What was that? 16?
Yeah, 16.
Oh, I messed up.
Per Shabbat.
Per Shabbat. So, but if you look at it, that's a lot of hours.
Yeah.
And if you do the same thing for Christianity, they can't even keep up. So that was 7 months. So we just had a lot of time because and that was different from coming from Christianity and doing the Shabbat, because that really required, that took the whole day. It wasn't just partial day and we go do our own thing.
I would say it's easy to hide in Christianity.
Oh.
As soon as you feel uncomfortable, you're like, I gotta go. You gotta go.
But where were you guys going to go?
Right, we're like,
we can't drive. We're right here. This is where we stay.
Like we wanted to go
anyway. Yeah. So anyway, so that's
right.
We talk about the time.
And the reason why I was asking that question first, brother, is just to give people an understanding how. This it wasn't just an idea right from the get-go, right? From like, hey, let's do it, and we did it. No, this took time. This took time to labor amongst each other, right? To get to know each other, and get to a point where we could understand how we labor amongst. Your screen kind of did something.
My screen. Keep talking.
But anyway, I guess now to the next part, if you want to go there or wherever you have in mind to talk about next. But talk to everybody. I guess the difference between, you would say you said a word. You said you were a community guy in terms of the Green Bay community, right?
Yep.
Talk about the difference between that dynamic of community and in a Christian environment and what it means now that you live in a community, in terms of just fruit, edification, even just the get to the point where we're continually getting to know each other, right? Continue to know who you labor among. So speak to that.
So when I was in the community in Christianity, I was more, I was a board member for a Christian school,
right?
Providence Academy. I was a deacon at the church I went to, and so you did little Bible studies here, little, programs. You did, we had meetings as a board members. We tried to do little activities, you do fundraisers, but you really can never get to know somebody. Maybe the people you really get to know are the people like the board members.
Sure.
But even that, it was always doing business. It wasn't even revolving around the word.
So even the dynamic was a business.
It was all business. It was always business, putting things together, but it wasn't just a time to fellowship. Matter of fact, we even recognize that even at Providence, they said, well, let's do something where we just go to a camp. Let's do a retreat, team building. Let's do a retreat, because we just don't. They even know that we don't do anything together but work. We're together. We're here working, trying to figure out how to get the budget or how to do this. But it really wasn't. You do your prayer here before, pray for whatever, and then you just go. But it really wasn't. You try to get that in, but in this lifestyle, you don't have to try to get it in. It's just part of your life. The word is just part of your life. When David says that he meditate on his word day and night, now I know what it means. When I was in Christianity, the way I had to meditate, I had to read the word. I had to you still read the word,
right, exactly. But
I had to make it. I had to do devotions and just try to make it. But now when you become a commandment keeper, everything you do is revolving around that law. You think about the law, how you treat your brother, how you treat how you treat God. When you think about all of the different dynamics, even when we have situations like, hey, what does the law say? We always think, what does the law say? So
now we're applying.
Yeah, we're applying the law. Right. So we're living it out. So we're living righteousness. We're living out. We walking in righteousness as Christ did itself. So it's just totally different. I felt like Christianity was more like it was more compartmentalized. We're in church. Let's do Bible time because we're in church, Bible study.
Right.
But here it's just part of everything you do. It's just part of your life. How we talk to each other, how we live, it's just part of it. It's not something that's compartmentalized.
Yes,
do we read the word? Yes, we read the word. We know the word. We live the word. And
yes,
so that was the difference between being in community Christianity and trying to get everybody so many different denominations and you're trying to create a community environment, but at the end of the day, everybody had their own little deal, and there was never really that one spirit, that one mind. It was just always just. People just had different beliefs, and there was never no commonality. Nothing community. There was nothing common. Just the school they went to, but there was nothing common. You had people at the same school, and all they had in common was their children in the school, but nothing when it came to our faith.
That's good. And this will be the last one, and then I'll let you do your thing. But the reason I'm asking these questions just because I kind of want to help the listeners, just because I can relate with the people on the other end. And so can you, and we can relate to these people and just trying to give them a little bit of groundwork here. But so now, fast forward, right? So now, knowing you, Brother Kabir, I know you're a man of diligence. I know you're a man who.
How do you know that?
Because I've lived with you
for
over a year now, and even just the fact, because I'm with the person too, because of past situations that I didn't want to jump into things, right? And I don't think anybody should just jump into things, right?
And I didn't want to do it too when I heard about it, even though Pastor was preaching about it, even when I was there, I'm like, okay, that's good. But it was starting to make real
because I think it's pulling at a level in ourselves that now I got to share space. Now they're gonna see who I really am, type of situation. But so fast forward after you already did your diligence and testing us. Getting to know,
and what really did it for me was when I went to Straightway, Tennessee, where Pastor lives, and in that community, I couldn't see community from my perspective. I couldn't see it. I saw it looked beautiful. It looked good, but I couldn't see how can I do that now? I couldn't.
And that leads me to this question here. Sir. So after you've kind of known who we are as a group of people, getting to know the ministry, and I think by that time you already visited. You've gone to, I don't know how many feast days at that point.
Yeah, I've been to,
before, but take us back to that moment when you made the decision to say, you know what, I do want to do this. What was going on in your mind at that moment where you were like, you know what, this is what I want to do. I want to commit to this. And to the point where then you gave me a call and
right before that, you guys talked about saying that, hey, whenever you're ready, you guys brought that up. And I didn't give you an answer one way or the other. I just said, okay, let me just think about it, whatever. But I wasn't even thinking about it. So when I went to KC, I went to Straightway KC, where led by Pastor Corey Phillips. I believe that's how you say his name. I never used the last name, so I don't even know if I'm pronouncing it right. Okay, Pastor Corey. And when I went up there, I don't know what brought me up there. I think for a football camp or whatever. I think me and Brother Daniel went up there. Yeah. And we went up there, and we stayed at the community. We stayed on community. I think I stayed in the living room area. He stayed in the room or whatever. But anyway, I stayed there.
And it was during Pentecost.
Yeah. And I used it.
And then you went
to Yep. And then so I went. I took a shower there. I broke bread with them. I remember when I first got there, they washed my feet. They welcomed me, and I slept on a cot, so it wasn't like I was at a 5-star hotel. But what was so beautiful about the thing was that. Just the hospitality, the spirit. I saw the spirit. It was beautiful. I wanted to be. I remember I went there on the day that the air conditioner broke in the area that I was in. So it wasn't like you would think that like, man, when I leave, I'm not doing community. I'm like, I'm done with this stuff. But I said no. I wanted to do community because, and what made me be able to see was to see. Now they have a smaller house than what we have by far, right? But they were doing this all under one roof. They went in the basement. We took a check. They only had 2 bathrooms, one downstairs and another one upstairs. Oh no, 3 bathrooms. And I'm seeing how they do it. I said, so who lives here? They said, such and such. In one room, you had a family of a husband, wife, and children. in one room. Then you had the single guys in another room. And you, Pastor Corey had a room there. And I'm like, wow. I said, I can do this. I think I can even do it better. And that, just because I had the space, I have more space, but I'm saying they can make it work. How come I can't make it work? And so then I came back and told Pastor, I called Pastor Dell. I said, Pastor, I want to do community. He says, okay. Well, I said, I want Brother David and Brother Jordan and obviously your house and then Brother Ryan. And so he said, okay, let's do it. He said, we set up a meeting, and from there, the rest is history. But the reason why I wanted you guys, because you guys are traveling back and forth. And I'm thinking like, let's save the money, because every time you guys came, now here's what I didn't tell the people. Now, my wife just left me. I did have a cleaning lady. I had a cleaning lady who would cook me. She would come on Tuesdays. And she would make me a meal, and I would literally make. Not that I can't cook, and not that I couldn't go out and eat, but I was stressed out. I just didn't have time. I didn't have time. I'm trying to figure out my family. I'm just all over the place. But my clean lady also had the ability to cook, and so she would cook for me, and I made that food last all the way to sixth day, because I knew you guys was coming, right? And then you guys would make food, and I'm always praying like, God, please let there be leftovers, just like when Jesus had the two fish and the 3 loaf of bread, and there was leftovers, right? And so I'll let that stretch, right? And there'll be times I remember Sister Evelyn was saying, man, this food gotta be thrown away, because I guess the rice was glistening. I guess it's not supposed to be having like shiny like that. Yeah. But literally, I was just surviving on just eating, because I like homemade food or whatever. Right. And I was just making it last, and so I knew you had to be done, and that would be done, and then I'll have the clean lady, and that food should last me all the time. So I was just maintaining, and then I went to my good old cereal. I kind of miss my cereal, bring out the good old days, the granola cereal, but I was just thinking, like, why don't you guys just stay here? Now we can live life together and stuff. I got me a room. I can put you guys in this room. And so that's kind of how the whole thing. And then it was Pastor Dow that pretty much, I didn't even know that I was going to be head of community. I didn't even think of that. I didn't even think I was worthy of anything like that. I just wanted to do community. And Pastor Dow said, Kabir, you're the head, and you guys submit to Kabir, and you guys was willing to do that, and we've been doing it ever since, and it's grown now. So it's grown. I mean, I feel like we're outgrown. We're getting close to a point where I feel like we're outgrowing the place. Yes,
Well, that's beautiful, brother. Now let's talk about this. You mentioned this earlier, but come on, you're KGB. Former NFL player. You're a person of means. You're an affluent person, and have been for a long time. Why even consider this? I mean, what benefit would it give someone like you? Like you said earlier, right? That, well, in the past, you never really saw it as that's just for poor people or as a means of community service or whatever. But why you, Brother Kabir?
Well, the first reason, now I didn't know the benefits that I did get from it, but the benefit that initially got me was the fellowship, that I'm around people.
That is a benefit.
Yeah. There's a benefit is just to be around brothers and sisters who's about keeping the commandments of Yah, who loves Jesus Christ. That was the initial thing, just to be in that, right? Because you have to remember, I lost everything. I lost a wife. I lost children. I lost friends. I'm in the community, and it felt like a ghost town. When I walk into town, if they saw me, they ran away from me. No one wanted to talk to me anymore. I was just by myself. The business things I had. I was kicked off the Providence board. I lost my job. The firm that I was at. They were managing my money. I lost that. I'm just literally by myself. Right. And so it was. So you guys was family. You guys was even my siblings. And my dad. Actually, I had my dad, but it was like, what can I do? Right. And so that's the immediate benefit.
Even during that time, your dad wasn't living with
you. Yeah, he wasn't. My dad was living there at the time, and I couldn't really take care of him. So that was the immediate benefit. But then when you guys came, then all of a sudden, you have Sister Evelyn. It was only at the time, it was only one sister. Now we have 4 sisters. And then with the other people, it makes it 6 when the people that live outside the community. But it was just Sister Evelyn. She was cooking and cleaning. She was doing, you were doing cooking and cleaning and everything. Yeah. So all of a sudden we're eating, and I was eating. You guys probably already eating, but there was food now. We provided the funds to get the food, but that was being cooked now. We had fellowship. I wasn't by myself anymore. So just that. But then all of a sudden, when I started living, I started noticing other things like the benefit of now. I remember we have two brothers who work. And they're bringing in money, and so, I'm not making the money that I used to outside of my investments. I got investment making money, and I know what that is, but it was the money that I wasn't able to make. But now these guys are bringing in money. I was like, okay, they're bringing in money. So I saw the benefit of that. I saw the benefit of now I could get rid of my clean lady. We had a clean. I was paying her like maybe $10,000 to $12,000 a year just to come once a week. Now I have a cleaning crew that knows this house, and they do it every day except for Shabbat. So 6 days a week, my house is being cleaned, right? And whatever it needs to be cleaned and everything like that. So I'm saving money there. And then you have Pastor Dow telling me, hey, I'm paying $40,000 for my dad to be in assisted living. And my dad told Pastor Dow told me, hey, that's not how we take care of our elders. You take your dad out and bring him there. We'll send you another sister who does the stuff to be able to take care of your dad. And so that's when, we had a sister come in here. And so I was able to move my dad out, and now I'm saving $40,000. So you take the $40,000, you take the $12,000, that's $52,000 that I was saving just because of community.
And that's something you weren't even necessarily
I wasn't even thinking about that.
Like y'all brought that in almost, forgive my phrase, but like I know Christian said this a lot, but it was a blessing in disguise.
A blessing, because I did not do it for that reason. I just literally did it for the pure. I knew it was going to cost me money.
So
that's what I was thinking.
Seeking His kingdom.
Yeah, because a lot of you guys was coming. You didn't have work when you guys first came in. You didn't have a job right off the bat, but you guys was looking for work and everything. So I said, just come on, we're good. Let's just live this life. You guys, we live a simple life and anything, So we were going to make this thing where I'm still going through my divorce, right?
Yeah,
was my divorce finalized at that time?
No, it wasn't.
No, it wasn't. So that was another thing. So it was a lot of stuff, not knowing what's up in the air, what I'm going to have, what's you going to take, and all that stuff. There was a lot going on. But that was the biggest benefit was fellowship. And then obviously saving money, saving $40,000. Well, now instead of giving it to the heathens, now I can have it stay in Israel for us, because now we have people taking care of my dad, and then instead of having somebody clean the house, and my clean lady, she was a beautiful woman. I mean, I think I've had her for 10 years. So she did a great job. Yeah. She actually helped Sister Evelyn, telling her, hey, this is how Kabir likes the thing done and stuff. So it was Veronica was her name. Veronica, very beautiful woman, and beautiful family and everything like that. But I had to let her go because the finance, I just couldn't afford to keep her.
Right. And you didn't necessarily need
it. And I didn't need it anymore too. Right. So I'm thinking like, what? I'll just be doing it just to be doing it. But now that would be more money that we can go back into Israel again. And so I was trying to find ways to be. And so that's some of the immediate benefit that I was able to get right off the bat is obviously the fellowship, and then you have the my dad's situation and the cleaning.
Wow.
Was there another one too?
I think we spoke a little bit earlier.
Okay, yeah, and this is just more recent now because the guys now have work and they have learning a trade. So we got Brother Jordan and Brother Ryan, both they do drywall. Drywall and plastering. So now we got people, and they're trying to find things that can help the community that if we ever want to build or help Straightway Tennessee or whatever. But that's what they're doing. Just recently, my dad, thank God that nothing happened, but he fell and broke a wall. And normally that would cost me $200 or $300 to go call somebody to come and fix it. And they charge me all these money. Right. It cost me, how much did it cost me? I don't think how much did it cost me?
I think just material.
It just cost me material costs, like less than $20, I think, So Jordan came in there, boom, patch it up. And then we got a brother Freddie who can paint. So he comes in and paint it. And so now it costs me nothing to get that fixed because we have people in-house, It's not like to say, hey, what's my bill? That's part of community. So
amazing.
Yeah. So it's just so I'm seeing the benefit that, and even if I knew what I knew now and now what happened, I would never stop community. I love just the aspect that I can be around people who are one mind, one heartbeat, one soul. We get to worship together. We break bread together. We get to live life together, really live life together. I remember Christianity used to say, but we live life together. Do we really? We don't live life together. We just see each other at events. Right. And they said we live life together. Or they come over and do a movie night and just, once in a blue moon, or go to the beach or do something and say, we live in life. I mean, literally, I remember there's this one woman, part of this ministry called Young Life. They'll use that term. We live life together. They didn't live life together. This is living. If that's living life together, then what's this? Right. We up in there. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. So. That's amazing, brother. Thank you for touching on that subject. Now, speak to the effect of shoot, I lost my train of thought. But I guess I can speak a little bit about even just my aspect of living in the community. Oh, that's what I was going to say. Excuse me, guys. Sorry. So this is live. So you guys know this is not rehearsed.
Yeah, exactly.
But so speak to the effect of the leaps and bounds that you grow in community as opposed to not being in community in terms of accountability, in terms of just the time spent together, applying the word, and loving your neighbor, stuff like that. Speak to that effect and how the dynamic that you've seen, and not only in your own life, but just even in general.
Oh, well, one thing about the community is because you live life together. People see you on your good days, your bad days. It's just, you have your room.
It's real life.
It's real life. You get to see that. You see my hair when it's not made. You guys see me when I'm all made up, but they see me, my breath stink. I'm stinking sometimes because I just finished working out, whatever. But what I've grown is just iron sharpened iron, really living this thing out. Before but I always was serious about my faith. So I don't know if I needed community for that, but I think it's made me grow even that much more. Even as a community head, you would think like, oh, well, no one's telling me what to do. But if I'm trying to lead, if I'm trying to be an example or trying to, demand things of you guys, then I have to be doing it myself.
Right.
And so just that natural tension of just being an example, being a leader, it makes me raise my game even more higher. I can't just do whatever I want to do or whatever, because you guys are looking just like having children, but I was a father. So I was already kept accountable just by having children,
Sure.
if that makes any sense. So if I'm trying to teach them, so I don't think it changed that much, but I think I grew leaps and bounds because now I'm living the commandments out. Right. I have to, like, for example, I remember one of the brothers, had to get his teeth done, right? And for the first time, this was different. It wasn't like somebody called me all the way from Los Angeles saying, hey, can you send me some money? Because we need this for some emergency. But this is a brother who lives with me. And I remember that he had to get some teeth done, and he went to go to his doctor, right? And the doctor said, oh, you're going to have to remove all your teeth. You're just going to have to remove it. Now I'm saying, wait a minute. I said, go see my doctor. I didn't go send to any doctor. I said, go see my doctor. Because what the commandment says? To love your brother, to love your neighbor as you love yourself. Right. This is my neighbor. I see a real. He wasn't even. He didn't ask me. He just think like, man, I just got to go see. I said, go see I think we can save some of that. And then we talked to the doctor. And I said, doctor, hey, just talk to me. We're going to take care of this stuff. Because I was trying to treat my brother like I would my own son. Or I treat him like I would treat myself, right? And so it put me in a position to love my brother. That's good. And so I got the experience of what it meant to give. The Bible says better to give than to receive. Yes, sir. And so I wouldn't have been able to do that if I didn't do community, because I'll be saying, well, that's your problem, everybody's on their own. You know what I'm saying? You got to take care of yourself, blah, blah, blah. But this is a brother who's living with me. We did everything in common, and now he has a medical issue or a teeth issue, and so let's see if we can salvage that. And so, does that make sense? Like, I wouldn't have been able to do that if I was if he was just somebody I saw at church. I'm like, maybe I would throw something at the pot, but here I end up covering the whole. The community ended up covering the whole cost. Right, exactly. And it doesn't go unnoticed even on his behalf as he's working and bringing in. You know what I mean? So it's a common. It's just common, right? Exactly. And here's what. Let me show you what it says in the Bible. It says, and I kind of want to read this stuff here. Let me read. It says here in Acts 4. This is 3. Hold on there. You want to start at 2, or you want to do 4? Let me do 2. And it says, and he says this, and fear came upon every soul, and many wonders and signs were done by the apostles, and all that believed were together and had all things in common. And sold their possessions and goods and parted them to all men as every man had need. Was that not a need? That was a real need, right? And they continued daily on one accord in the temple, and breaking bread from house to house, did eat their meat with gladness and singleness of heart, praising God and having favor with all people. And the Lord added to the church daily such as should be saved. Man. So there you go. There was a need. And that's why we paid. Now, not everybody have to have a big medical bill there, but in that case, that's what he needed and that's what he got. And so that's why people here can honestly say that they there's nothing that they lack. Now, obviously, we can even just by the conversations that we've had with I would say maybe ex-friends, acquaintances that you used to have, or even just the notion that you being a person of means
and us who weren't necessarily people of means, what's the automatic assumption, right? That, oh, they're just taking advantage of you. So I want to kind of touch on this that you can talk about, but you have there's someone in this community who is not necessarily involved to the extent that we are. But speak about your father, and because he comes from, he's your father, he raised you, right? And so he comes from an interesting perspective where he's not necessarily biased to one side or the other. And if anything, he's more on your side because of the relationship you guys have. What does your dad think about this?
I'm glad you asked. That's a great question. So even my dad, who hasn't truly, he hasn't made a professor like, man, I'm a commandment keeper. Now he is keeping the commandment because he lives here,
right,
but because I'm taking care of him, so, but my dad always warned me about Christianity. I remember when I got into Christianity, he always told me, you be careful. These Christians will burn you. You will see. Guess what? I not only seen, I've experienced. So, Dad, you're right. I'm just here to tell you, Dad, you are right about Christianity. It is a wicked religion. And now I see what he's talking about. It is. I can't believe I didn't see it. Right. But he saw it enough to say, you will see. And so naturally, when I came into Straightway, he's a concerned father. He's seen all this things happening. Right. He said, be careful. This is before he moved here.
Right. He didn't know anything.
He didn't know anything about Straight. Right. All he knows is that I'm picking this. My family is leaving. He's getting all these words. But now when he moved in, right now that my dad has moved in, now my dad has been here when I was living here with my wife and my 7 children. My dad was I don't know if it's 7 children because we moved 6, but my dad's been here. He's been in the community living, in the assisted living. Assisted living, and now he's also experienced living on community here at Straightway Praiseland. Wow. So he's been in this house before. This is not the first time. So he's seen all the different dynamics, but his response is different. He didn't like, when he was here, he always felt like it was on eggshell because I was trying to take care of him and I was stressed out trying to take care of him. My wife really didn't want to, do anything for him. Like, it was labor to get her just to cook him breakfast. So I was I was changing his catheter. I was cleaning. I was giving him his meds. I had to do all this stuff, and maybe once in the blue moon, and when I couldn't do it, I'm like, babe, can you go give him his meds, but literally I was doing, it was just, I was stressed out. Yeah. I was just trying to do this, and I'm doing community, and I'm doing church stuff. And I'm taking care of the children, and I'm taking them to school. I'm disciplining them. I'm like taking care of the dog, everything, all the stuff we take care of. I did all that. Right.
I still remember the one time Sister Evelyn had to fight you to clean up.
Oh yeah. She dropped wine, and I'm like, I'm trying. She's like, oh, sir, I got this. No, I got this. I'm like, okay. I feel like she's intriguing me. Like, please, sir, I got this. I'm like backing off. I'm like, okay, because my wife would have, my ex-wife would have just looked and just wouldn't do it. So I would just do it. So anyway. But so my dad seen it, so he said, be careful. Now, obviously, when Straightway came in, he met Pastor Dow. Actually, when Pastor Dow, he got to meet Pastor Dow, and the first thing Pastor Dow shook his hands and he bowed his head to my dad. I'm like, wow, Pastor, that's something that they do in Nigeria. Why do you do? He said, that's how we treat our hoary heads, or an elder and everything. I said, wow. And then Mother Carol came in a different time. Pastor Dow wasn't anywhere. She just came in. I said, hey, Mother Carol, meet my dad. And saying that she gave him a curtsy. I'm like, what's my dad.
It makes you one of the. Maybe I should bow.
Yeah, exactly. It changed me because I wasn't doing it, to be honest with you. Right. And so this is new. So Pastor Dow was leading, and so this is the guy that's the cult leader. This is the guy that's oppressive and all this stuff. But he's showing my dad honor. So my dad just like saying, okay, be careful. But he didn't have anything bad to say because Pastor Dow was the first pastor. My dad's met many of the pastors in my life. He's the first pastor that actually showed my dad any honor and respect. I'm talking about genuine honor,
if I'm not mistaken,
and respect.
One of those former pastors actually told you to put
my dad out of my house, to take my dad out of the house so I can be more attentive to my wife and children. Christianity told me to kick my dad out of the house when I first brought him in, and that I'm being selfish, that I need to spend more time with my wife. It was Pastor Dow that told me to take my dad out and put him into community, and that he will sit. And now he said, figure it out. We will send you a sister to come and take care of your dad.
This is the big bad Pastor Dow who's asking you to give you all his money.
God, I'm telling you, Pastor Dow, Straightway Truth has given me more than I have given to them. Now I'm giving, don't get me wrong, but I'm just telling you, they're giving. I mean, no pastor has ever done that.
That's a good point. Tell us what your dad said not too long ago about serving. The mutual benefit or whatever.
So I told my dad, I said, Dad, be real. And in the beginning,
tell him first in the beginning.
In the beginning, he kept on saying, be careful.
Right.
Be careful. I'm just watching. Be careful. My dad's a watcher.
And I think it was that one time, was it one of your brothers who called? Like, what are they?
Yeah, what are they doing? He just says, man, and I didn't have people told me to kick all the people at Straightway out of the house. I praise them, kick them out, and then pray, and then believe that your wife and your children will come back. I said, well, who's going to take care of my dad? Don't worry about it. God will take care of it. I'm like, but they're taking care of him now.
I remember that. Your dad was on the table. I was like, hey, Dad, what did you tell us?
So I told my dad, I said, hey, Dad, they're telling me to kick everybody out of Straightway and that God will take care of you and me. He says, what is this nonsense? This doesn't make any sense. So, I mean, my dad's a concrete guy. It just didn't make sense to him, right? Yeah. So anyway, my dad would say, be careful, be careful. And so I asked my dad, I said, Dad, just be real, Dad. Just tell me.
Now, how long ago was this? So this is, I think.
This is like maybe a month ago. This is after now.
After he's been living here for at least like 10 months.
10 months, 10 months and everything. And even Roger, the guy that comes in and do therapy for my dad, even says that he says he's seen my dad when before and assisted living, and now he says your dad is the most happiest now. Now he's older now, mind you, he's older. He said your dad seems more happy, more at peace now than all the other times that he's seen my dad. He even said this about me. I didn't even know. He said, "Come here, you're more happier."
He even said that about the house. The house
is more peaceful. Not that he just said he could just see the difference because he saw me in those different dynamics. Right. I don't even worry about my dad because we have Sister Kyrisha that does she does a great job that I don't even worry about my dad. Yes, he's being taken care of. If there's anything that's wrong, she's gonna let me know. But I don't even think of you know what I'm saying. So there's so much more peace. I'm traveling more. Before I couldn't travel that much. Not with my dad, but now I got somebody that's gonna take care of my dad, and I don't even have to worry about it when I'm here and when I'm gone. My dad is taken care of. And sister, you wouldn't be able to get that. The house is taken care of. Right. There's just things I don't worry about as much. I don't even worry about as much. All I do is make sure I do my little budget and make sure everything is going in. But other than that, you guys are doing such a great community, is just so great that I just don't have to worry about it. So even my needs are being met. My mental capacity, maybe if I didn't, maybe I would have CTE. I think that's what ends up happening. But to get to, not to digress, but my dad basically said that.
So what did you ask him?
So I asked my dad. I said, Dad, okay, it's been 10 months now. You've seen how we do things. Well, please just be honest. What do you see? He just says, you guys just a group of people that you guys just worship your God. You worship God. You are taking care of them. But in return, they are serving you. He's using words like he says there's a unity. I mean, what do you use? Harmony. He says you guys have a harmony. There's just so I said, Dad, you know what you're describing? You're describing us serving one another. Yes, I'm taking care of scripture. Yeah, I said I'm taking care of them, but they're taking care of me too. So, but people will be out there say, "Oh, Kabir, all those people are just there because they just want you for your money." I can tell you who wants me for my money, my ex-wife, my children. I got to pay $8,000 a month to a woman who don't even need it. We can actually use it, but I'm giving $8,000 to a woman and to children that don't even need it because the money that the half that they took would take care of them for the rest of their life. But you see her just traveling around the world doing whatever she wants.
And actually, I mean, I would even go as far as now she's just robbing the people of Yah.
She's just robbing the people of Yah.
Because you know how much $8,000 can go far in a community setting for Israel.
For Israel, people. Yeah. So we just compensate with investments and people working and stuff like that. But that's providing, but that's Christianity. And that is very acceptable in Christianity. Right. She the same woman that used to be my wife, my ex-wife, she knew that all the stuff I had to do. She knew I'm taking care of my dad. Does you think she think about it? She was trying to financially bankrupt me. But the reason why I've been able to survive, the reason why I've been able to thrive is because of community. So community, if it wasn't for community, I don't know how I would have been able to handle all the stuff. I was able to keep the house. I was able to bring my dad back home. My dad is actually in a better situation. Now, when he went there, it was better because it was just all me. And sometimes I just couldn't get to him. But now he's in a better situation.
Right.
He even said that he wouldn't go back.
And the level of honor that the children show.
Oh my god! And that's
everybody.
And that's another thing.
Children.
This is not even my children.
You should tell them. So give them a rundown of what breakfast or let's say dinner looks like.
Okay, but let me tell you what it looked like before. So when my dad, when my dad would come to the house, I'll tell my ex-wife, my wife at the time, I said, "Hey, make sure the children are here to greet my dad." It was a labor just to get the children to greet my father. To say they would just come here and give him a hug because they had to do it, but it was no type of honor. It was just kind of like, okay, we got to go see Grandpa. Okay, Grandpa, boom. There's no respect, you know. And so, I mean, I'm like saying, can you just get the children to come and, you know, and then we try to, when he goes to bed, just to hug him goodnight or whatever. I mean, it was just, just to get my wife to, I had to, if I didn't do it, it wouldn't have happened. It just wouldn't have happened. Now here with community now, all the children line up. They look forward to my father coming. The elders come. They come in and take his hands, and the boys, you know, bow, and the daughters are doing the same. I mean, it's just beautiful. I mean, they look forward to it, and the respect and honor. I think my dad probably gets tired of all the, you know, we're just giving him honor and blessing him. But what the Bible says, honor your father and your mother.
Right.
And so it's happening here. I mean, my dad is being treated like a king.
Not only as community benefit you,
but
it's actually benefiting the generation before
me. Wow.
Which is your father. So now it's
and Christianity, crazy. You know how they treat my dad? They'll talk to my dad a little bit and then they just walk away. Right. Just like he's too old.
Explain to them that way they know in context.
So when it's like when he'll go to church, you know,
your dad has, you know,
my dad, you know, they say he has Parkinson's disease. You know, he has all the conditions of Parkinson's.
So sometimes it is hard to
so sometimes it's hard to understand him and his accent. I can understand everything. I don't know why I can. You're my translator now, you know. But anyway, because of that, it may make it difficult. But you got people here in the community that make it their point to try to understand him. And don't you now understand my dad now since you've been living with him now?
I usually try, even if I have to ask him 3 or 4 times, I don't want to. I mean, he's a human. I mean, he's not. He's right there.
Even taking my dad to appointments. I mean, Brother David, you've been a blessing. I mean, do you know how many appointments I had to take? Every doctor appointment, every appointment, I had to get off of work and just take my dad to. I couldn't depend on my wife to do it. Even though the children was off of school, I couldn't depend on her to do it. And so, guess what? How many weeks do you have to take my dad to get his massage?
Every once a week.
Once a week. David does
sometimes,
that.
You know, sometimes they cancel. Or whatever,
they cancel, but the point is, you're handling that stuff.
Last year, I've been taking your father.
But can you imagine if you take everybody, all the stuff they do in community? Do you know I used to do that? I know. Except for the cooking, I would say she did, but we ate out a lot. We did Little Caesar, Little Caesar. Okay, like since I've been in community, I think we've only ate out twice
as a community.
We went to Pizza Ranch and we ordered pizza maybe one time.
I think even I guess we've ordered pizza maybe twice.
Yeah. So
maybe 3 times.
Bro. Sorry. Bro. Like my dining out budget has dropped. I mean, it's not that much. Okay. We used to eat out.
We prefer our sisters cooking. Anyway.
Cooking, yeah. We prefer them.
You know what's in it.
Exactly. So that's the benefit that I got. And if I had to do this all again, knowing if I knew I would do community from the jump start. I wish I was doing it when I was playing football. You know, I wish I was doing it when I was taking my test because life would have been a lot more. I could have focused on my test and not be so stressed out. So I think I'm gonna live a longer life in this environment than I did if I was in the other environment. I think I would have just been a shell of a man.
That's a good point. Speak about
my health.
Speak about your peace of mind, knowing also that, you know, God forbid if anything would happen to anybody in the community, everybody would unite to help your dad, help you. I mean, even when you get older or when you get older.
I have way more peace of mind. I mean, just even, I even put a trust together to make sure I didn't even have to put my dad. I said, you know something, Dad, the community would take care of it. I have no doubt that Straightway Praise Land would take care of my dad. He will be, you're doing it now. But when I was alive and when my dad, I don't know who would have taken care of my dad. He'll probably follow one of my siblings or whatever. Right. And so, but I know for sure you guys are taking care of my dad more than my own natural family. How many of my natural family thank you guys for what you're doing?
I think we've only
met one, but how many of them called you?
Necessarily thank us.
No, they're just they don't even. But I say, guess what? The people you're calling a cult, the people that you're saying that is taking care of your daddy. That's what I gotta say. They're taking care of your daddy. Who's taking care of your daddy? These people are. Pastor Dow, and if it wasn't for Pastor Dow, it probably wouldn't happen. Pastor Dow, guys, I can't make this thing up. Pastor Dow. I was telling you, I got to tell you my dad. He says, come here, just take your dad out. Bring him home. We'll bring you a sister here. Easy. For me? Me, Pat? Yeah, don't worry. We'll bring your sister here. And then that sister, she ended up quitting. It didn't work out. Guess what I'm thinking? Like, oh man, because it was just Sister Evelyn again. So I'm thinking, okay, well, I will never forget that day when she ended up quitting. Sister Evelyn, you say, hey, we will find a way. We will take care of your dad. We'll take it out. And then look at this. And then you have now you have another community in Kentucky.
Come on, speak on that.
This is what I'm talking about. The love. I mean, this would have never happened in Christianity. But then you have Elder Mitchell, right?
He's where?
He's in Kentucky.
Okay.
He's in Kentucky. And so Elder Mitchell, he calls me and says, hey, he's applying the law. He sees a need. Now we fought this, but he sees a need. He has a sister. And this is not just any sister. This is now that I have Kyrisha under my roof, bro. I mean, I know Elder Mitchell loved me. I know. There's got to be some love. He gave that. That's like giving up your star player. Right. Your star player. If that's not love, I don't know what you call it.
Right. It'd be like giving up one of the saints who are here, right?
Yes. I mean, I know what it's like. And so he saw a need. He says, hey, we have a sister here who take care of the elderly. She went to school or whatever, been trained for this stuff. And he kind of was trying to tell me, hey, I mean, he was hoping that I'll say no, maybe like, hey, I'm just letting you know she got 2 children. We love her. We want her here. Like he made it very clear. You know, you don't have to take her. Trust me. You wouldn't be hurting our feelings. And I'm like, I don't think it took me that long to say, yep, we'll take her. We'll take her. And we take it. And so I really just want to just give a shout out to Elder Mitchell. Man, that's love. But I know what he was dealing with because that's what I dealt with when I had to deal with a brother who had teasing. So look at, who knows? How do you know that because of the love that I showed my brother here, God returned it back to me through an elder.
3 times fold.
3 times fold. Brought 3 people. Imagine, you see what I'm saying? Because when he was talking about the struggle, he was like, man, I can't ignore this. I know my brother needs somebody to take care of his dad. And so
the word is true.
And I knew it wasn't like I was like, that's interesting. I knew what he was going through because I already went through it prior. Right. And I didn't tell anybody, but I mean, only Pastor Dow knew, but prior. And so it came back. And so that's what I'm talking about. So it's not just the love I experienced here, but it's the love obviously with our pastor and Straightway Tennessee. You got Elder. I mean, and it builds bonds.
And I think that's where it goes to the point of the sacrifice part, right? We could probably go to that scripture where it talks about any man leaving house.
Yeah, Luke. That's in Luke, and you can go there. It's in Luke 18:29. But I think about even Elder Mitchell, and another thing that I noticed too, he even said, "Okay, come here. Hey, you're gonna take her." And now but you can see the love he had for Sister Kyrisha, right? Say, hey, this is her needs. This is how we do, And then when she got here, remember we were nervous, like, oh man, like man, she's been in this for 7 years. Like, man, I mean, we got to make sure we on our A game, And she came in here. You would think that she'll come in here and say, well, this is how we do it in Kentucky. Boom, 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 because we just dealt with a Jezebel that was here, right? So she comes, and I remember she came and she cried when she saw the room that we gave her. And then she says, hey, I'm here to assimilate to you. Whatever it is that you want, that's what I'm about. I'm like,
she's
wow.
shown herself faithful to that.
And she has shown herself faithful to that. And so anyway, read Luke 18.
But this is just, and the reason
Is that in Luke?
Yeah, Luke 18:29. The reason I brought this up is just because not only, obviously, more currently you're applying the word in the aspect of loving your neighbor, right? And like what you said, who knows that because of your love that you showed one of our brothers here,
maybe,
But and also we can't ignore the fact that this is a promise. This is a red letter. This is a promise from Yeshua himself that said, if you do this, I will take care of you, right? It says in Luke 18:29, and he said unto them, verily I say unto you, there is no man that hath left house or parents or brethren or wife or children for the kingdom of Yah's sake, who shall not receive manifold more in this present time and in the world to come, life everlasting. Brother Kabir, how many saints are living here now?
We have like 16. I think 16 total.
Including you.
Including me. Yeah. I think 16 or 17. So I lose count. If I was to do the math, I guess I wrote down about 16 because we just had another with my Ishaya.
What does that scripture mean to you, brother?
Well, I was just talking to, Bomb Shack, he came here,
Yes, sir.
to do the thing. And I said, everybody that's in this house is not local from Green Bay. Not
Speak
one.
on it, bro.
The only person
Speak
from
on
Green Bay is me and my dad. I mean, and I'm not even from Green Bay, but I'm just talking about
Right.
who are, kind of started when we came into the truth. Everyone that's a part of Straightway, Praiseland, all come. We got somebody from Kentucky. We got you guys that was in Illinois. You got somebody from Adams, Wisconsin, right? We got Sister Bree from KC. We got Sister Kyrisha from Kentucky. I mean,
Right. I was born in South America,
and we got a family from Germany. So when I say there's people from all over the world, do you hear what I'm saying? I mean,
I know I live here.
So look at so for that thing to be fulfilled, right? You look at. I didn't do it like in First Corinthians 6 talks about not taking your brother to court, right? That is better to be defrauded.
It's better to be defrauded
than to go to the unjust, right? To the unjust, to the law, to the unjust. Don't go to them. Now, it's okay, and the reason why I'm bringing this up because I remember my ex-wife because she's a Christian, right? A full-blown Christian, right? And she said everything that happened from the divorce, her getting half of the money, winning in the court case, getting everything she wants. She got everything she wanted, half and some. She actually got half, and she got $8,000 a month for 18 years. She's getting that stuff. And she said that was God blessing her for her faithfulness. But guess what she had to do to get that? She didn't have to believe in a miracle. All she had to do was go to the court, hire a lawyer, and she got everything she got through the unjust system. That's what she got. Now, how do you explain my situation?
Talk about it.
I have a pastor who's 10 hours away from me, right?
Right.
And then I have all of you guys,
commandment keepers.
What's the chance of that happening? I didn't go to no court system. You know where I went to? I got to the throne room and prayed. Yeah, God, I love you. I hope that. And God says, okay, because now you passed the test, I see that you're choosing me. Now I'm going to provide. He says, what? He says, what he says in Matthew 6. Go to Matthew chapter 6, guys. This is what I'm talking about. You go to Matthew chapter 6. Chapter 6, start at 24. I don't want to get longer because I know I'm just warming up here.
Yes, sir. This is Matthew 6:24. No man can serve two masters.
Cannot.
For either he will hate the one and love the other, or else he will hold to the one and despise the other. Ye cannot serve Yah and Mammon.
You cannot. Keep going.
Therefore I say unto you, take no thought for your life, what ye shall eat or what ye shall drink, nor yet for your body what ye shall put on. Is not the life more than meat, and the body than raiment? Behold, the fowls of the air, for they sow not, neither do they reap, nor gather into barns, yet your heavenly Abba feedeth them. Are ye not much more better than they?
Guys, listen to this stuff. He's talking about the basic necessity. He's talking about food, shelter, just like a husband is supposed to provide food, shelter, conjugal rights. He's talking about don't worry about those things. Don't worry about what you're going to eat. Don't worry about what you're going to wear. For your heavenly Father knows what you need, right? He says, look at the birds of the air. Look at the lilies of the field. Keep on reading. This is like, read it.
Which of you by taking thought can add 1 cubit unto his stature? And why take ye thought for raiment? Consider the lilies of the field, how they grow. They toil not, neither do they spin. And yet I say unto you that even Solomon in all his glory has not arrayed like one of these.
Keep on reading.
Wherefore, if Yah so clothe the grass of the field, which today is and tomorrow is cast into the oven, shall he not much more clothe you, O ye of little faith? Therefore take no thought, saying, what shall we eat?
Take no thought. Keep reading.
Or what shall we drink?
Take no thought of what you're going to drink.
Or withal shall we be clothed? For after all these things do the Gentiles see.
The Gentiles see going to the court system, getting them to get you take half of your husband's money to get him to pay child support. Isn't that extortion? That's extortion. Keep on reading.
For your heavenly Abba knoweth that ye have need of all these things.
Didn't Elder Mitchell see a need? A brother saw a need. Yah moved in his heart to call me out, Right? Didn't Yah move in my heart because he saw a need? Because I saw there was a need in my brother for his teeth? Keep reading.
But seek ye first the kingdom of Yah and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you.
So look what it says. It says, but seek first, right? Seek first his kingdom and his righteousness. Guys, I'm a part of the kingdom right now. When you come to Straightway Praise Land, when you go to Straightway Tennessee, it's like you're entering a kingdom. It's just like an embassy. Is it the kingdom? No. But when you are, everything in there operates like the kingdom of Yah, right? And his righteousness are his laws, right? The righteous are his laws. That's how you do all this stuff. It says, therefore take no thought for tomorrow should take thoughts of the things of itself. Sufficient of today is evil thereof. So listen to this, guys. Literally, I can honestly say, I can testify to this stuff. I didn't know how much money my wife was going to take. I didn't know what I was just, man, my world was spinning. And so one of the brothers here, Matt, said he couldn't believe that the way I talk, that I was under a matriarch system. Yes, I was. I am a matriarch. I was under the matriarch system. I'm out recovery. I don't know what you call those people, or a feminist or whatever. Right. Jezebel, Ahab, recovery. Yeah. But I'm not going back. But guys, I'm telling you, it's so true. Even because you have to understand, when I was in Christianity, no one would help me. No one really. I had to be self-sufficient. They came to me for help, right? And so no one said, "Well, how can we help you? You got money. What can we do to help you?" Mm-hmm. Pastor Dow never ever said, "I can't help you because you're rich." Pastor Dow saw needs. Mm. He was there. He took time to take my phone calls, talk to me for hours, taking my call just to help me emotionally. Because I was going through I took an emotional hit, and he helped me through that. He even to the point where he said, "Hey, okay, I see you getting your strength back. Good, because you guys start coming around. You guys." So I didn't have to talk to him as much. But and it's not like Pastor Dow was sitting by a phone and in the desk. He was talking. I'd be hearing. I mean, he'd be like working in the back. He said, "Hold on, computer." Put his earbuds in, and he's working, driving, doing something for his community, helping a brother out. But you would think he does this just for me. Nope, he does it for other people too, or he has elders or people doing that. But he did that for me. And the other brothers came in and do all that stuff. I mean, so guys, all I'm saying, when I say Yah will come, because he told me to bring my dad. Pastor never gave me it. I never given them. He gave me $40,000 a year. You know how he did it? By bringing a sister here taking care of my dad. So that's $40,000 I don't have to spend anymore. Mm-hmm. He saved me more money again, $10,000 a year, $10,000 to $12,000 a year, because I don't have to hire somebody to clean the house anymore. So that's how it passed. And he's giving me money. When he comes in here, he's always a blessing. So guys, I'm here to tell you, man, this community stuff has been such a blessing, being with people who truly follow what's in this book. They are doers of the word, not just hearers. In Christianity, and mostly in Christianity, they're just hearers. I don't even know if they're hearing. But they're most definitely not doers. Even when we went to the conference, you see that people are they can't even relate to these stories. This is my life. Come on, bro. This is my life. I can tell you right now, when I wake up in the morning and when I eat breakfast and when I'm spending time with my community, I know that they're here because of that act of Yah. I'm reminded that Yah is taking care of me. How can I wake up and say, "Well, God, what have you done for me lately?" How dare I even think of saying something like that? And my family and my community continue to grow. I'm still hanging my hat on Luke 18:29. I'm gonna have now. I got my woman. We're gonna start popping out babies and getting more women and getting that more. I'm coming. You know what I'm saying? So I just gotta make sure I'm faithful. But you hear what I'm saying? Yes, so this is how community has been a blessing to me. So if you want to know how I got through it, did I stand? Yeah, I stood. But I couldn't have done it if it wasn't for Yah sending his people, starting with his pastor, Pastor Charles Dow Jr. He sent him, and all of this is because of his leadership. And so you want to know I'm loyal to him is because of the love he showed me. I saw the love he has for Yah and the love he's had for his neighbor. Yes, sir. Is that wrong? No, that's good, brother. That's good. So if anything, if you want to accuse a pastor, don't accuse me for taking advantage of them. I'm the one that's getting the benefits out of here. I'm just trying to be an asset. Like, Pastor, how can I be a blessing? I mean, You've been such, but is that just me? But don't you have a story like that too?
Oh,
Pastor
yeah.
Dow is just me because maybe because I'm a guy. I'm a Green Bay Packer. I'm a Hall of Famer. Maybe Pastor Dow just did something special just for me.
Mm-hmm.
But what was your background? Immigrant?
Exactly.
I mean, what's your story? But you have a story that how Pastor Dow personally blessed you.
Yeah. Definitely.
Am I right?
You're right, brother. You're right. I mean, I can talk on it, but yeah.
There's no respect of the person.
Nope.
All Pastor Dow is doing, do you a commandment keeper? Do you believe in Jesus?
Mm-hmm.
That's all that pastor needs right there.
And even to the effect that, you know, somebody can say, well, he just helped your dad out because, you know, you're a Green Bay Packer. But didn't we just hear a story about an elderly woman?
Yeah.
Who's going to be taken care of? She's going to be put in a house and the Saints are going to take care of her?
That pastor got a house for her so they can take. Guys, I'm not unique. I know you're hearing me. And I have a voice, I have a platform, but it's not just me.
Right.
That's why it makes it so special because I'm thinking like, wow, this Pastor Dow I've just never seen a pastor do stuff like this. And not only that, his elders, his deacon, all the teachers, all the people in leadership are of the same mindset.
Come on.
He inspires me. That's why, how can I not, I'm like that because I'm inspired to be like that because of my pastor. And it's all right here in the word. So that's community. Community has been
like
a
what Pastor
blessing.
said, I mean, he said that if unless you're living it, you can't talk about it. So I think
that's why I can talk about this
stuff.
stuff.
To the extent that pastor lives it, that he can be an example, show us how to do it.
And speak with authority.
And speak with authority. And now in the same manner, you as well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Now you can, right?
You
not speak with authority when you read these scriptures?
guys, even when Yah says he'll be a father to the fatherless, guess what? I am a father to the fatherless. I got DeAndre that came with Sister Kyrisha and Sister Ayana. I discipline them. I love them. I do all this stuff, but I get to be a dad. Mm-hmm. I'm thinking all that skill didn't go off for naught. I was a father for 16 years, and then they left. And now I went to the highway. Literally, it feels like I went to the highways and byways. Mm-hmm. I said, okay, well, this house was built for somebody. Maybe it was really built, but they don't have time. They don't want to do it. So now God just brought people from the highways and byways who can now appreciate it. Do you appreciate my leadership
every day?
Am I a dictator? Whatever. Am I like an oppressive leader or something like that?
Not at all, bro.
I had a wife that left. Mm-hmm. She left because she says I'm abusive. Right. Do you see any abuse?
No.
Come on, man. Come on. A little bit. I'm big. Remember Pastor Karuku? He said, man, tell him, you're intimidated. Right?
I know.
So anyway, guys,
the accusations are amazing.
It just is. So I even know the accusation that Pastor Dow deals with.
But how can they understand unless they live it, right? So I get it. I guess I get that this is not normal.
Yeah.
This is not in this society, in this world. It's not normal.
It's not.
So to them, they fear it because they don't know it. Right.
And I think the biggest thing, somebody in my situation, especially wealthy people that in my situation, we're taught to stay away from people. Don't have people in your house. They're going to try to sue you. Mm-hmm. I mean, everything is isolate yourself from people because they're going to take advantage of you. And so guess what? That's why wealthy people, it's going to be very hard for a wealthy man, especially a wealthy woman, to make it to enter the kingdom of heaven because they're not willing to give up. They're so busy trying to keep holding on to their stuff. That they actually break the commandments of Yah. They don't love their neighbor. Mm-hmm. They're not even willing to do anything for it because they just want to protect what they have their own and keep their and end up isolating themselves. And then they got all these toys and got their plane, their cars, and all this stuff, and they wonder why they have no peace.
They have no peace. That's a good point.
And I deal with people who have lots of money, and guess what? They're some of the most unhappiest people. The most unhappy. Do you know you have more joy than the people that I've dealt with that have money? Mm-hmm. Even all the people, all the so-called Christian friends, all that stuff, they don't have the same type of peace. Right. Not the same type of commitment, kind of love. They don't. Brother. So I'm at peace. So when people want to know, like, man, why didn't Kabir come back? Man, he had a beautiful wife, children, everything. How can I walk away from this and go to what? Okay, I'll let my dad be the judge. I said, Dad, it's up to you. Do you want me to go back?
She said it didn't make sense.
Do you want me to go back to Christianity, kick all these people, get back so I get the children, or should I stay there? My dad said it doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense.
And I'm sure he misses his grandchildren.
Yeah, my dad loved his grandchildren. My eldest son is his first grandchild. Mm-hmm. That's his first.
It was amazing that he can actually say that he has more peace. And even Roger's saying, that he sees
more. Look, my dad just lost 8 of his grandchildren. 8. And he's more happy now than he was when he was when he was living here and when he's in assisted living. This is the best time you had with the cult.
You're gonna make a lot of people upset right now by just saying that.
I'm just telling you,
it's just a fact.
That's what my dad told me. After the show, I can ask him. I said, Dad, did I say anything that wasn't true? Roger said the same thing. Roger said, Kabir, I've seen you, I've seen your dad. You guys have more peace.
I don't even think it's even people who don't even live
here. Terminex. You got the Terminex guy. You got the roof guy. You got the plumbers. They said, man, it just seems peaceful. And you know what makes it so peaceful? The women. It's our sisters. The sister, like man, when it says in Proverbs 14:1 that a wise woman builds her house and a foolish one plucks it, it is such true because when a woman is in her role, I never thought of it that way because when I was in Christianity, I didn't want to come home. I wanted to come home, but I didn't want to. It's like I said. I mean, I wanted to come home, but to me, coming home was like work. It was like, okay,
there's more to do.
Okay, I gotta make her happy. I gotta do it. But now when I want to come home because there's.
You don't want to leave.
I don't want to leave. I gotta get out of the house, guys. I'm already naturally a homebody, so my office is here and everything, but I don't want to leave. That's why people think like, man, Kabir, did you move out? Did you move to Tennessee? No, I'm still here in Green Bay. I love the kingdom of Yah. I'm in the kingdom of Yah.
Come on, man.
The only time I go out is when I have to go out. But I want to be back here. Isn't that crazy? Man, anyway.
That's the truth. I know we're getting kind of long-winded, but sorry guys. Hey, this is just it's something we need to talk about. So I mean, don't stop, brother. Whatever you got left in the heart, let's talk about it, man.
Well, those are the stuff I just want to. So that's how I was blessed. This is how community has been a blessing to me. I know next, Pastor Don wants us to start talking about homestead, and so I want to start talking about just, I'm going to go on the show of Brother Michael, Spiritual Combat. Go on there, talk about it. But even on my channel, just talk. I may just do an interview with him and then put.
I'm sure he's gonna. And he comes from a different perspective. He's getting there, right? Yep. So I'm sure he's gonna have a lot of good questions and it's gonna be nice to do that show with your brother.
So I'm gonna do that show, but I can tell you,
shout out to that brother.
Yeah. Michael Israel, brother Michael Israel, good brother. So just talking to him, he is really just excited. He's on fire for this community living. So I didn't want to get too much into the nuance of how we, just the infrastructure, the financial infrastructure. Again, you do have to have a financial infrastructure. You have to just all the little things to prepare, but. This is how I was able to. This is the blessing I got from being in the community, and the reason why I felt comfortable with the guys that we started off with is because I got to labor with them. I got to see them showing up. I saw their faithfulness, the time that they were here, how they kept the place clean when they left it. They left it better than they found it. I mean, you guys just. So it was easy to say, hey, Pastor, I want these people to live in community, and we got some people that don't live on community right now, and they're not ready for community right now. Because how do you know? Because you see how they are. Just on the times that we meet during the Shabbat. Right. And so this is how you use those opportunities to learn those who you labor among.
And not everybody is cut out for community. You know what I mean? It is a good choice. It takes you to a whole another level of holiness.
Oh yeah. And you have to be, and I wouldn't even get to, because I've been watching us doing community is not new. There are Christians who actually do, or people, hippies or whatever, do it. But they have a different model, and I think there's some of their models like a consensus. They sit down and they vote. They do a round table. Okay, what should we do and all this stuff. They have more of a democracy of how they run community, but that's not how we run community. We run community like a monarchy or like a patriarchal. We patriarchal rule. We have one person ruling, and then everybody follows. And but we know that because it's preparing us for the kingdom. Because when you go to the kingdom is patriarch. It's a kingdom. Right, it's a kingdom, monarchy. So it's a monarchy. So, So anyway, I hope you guys. I hope this stimulate thought. I hope this was encouraging, just to see. Just kind of we've been talking about homestead and just talking about community. Well, guys, this is how it's been a blessing for a rich man. So I'm a wealthy man. Still, I'm actually more wealthy. I feel like I can do way more.
But that's part of the promise, right?
Yeah, I'm doing manifold. So I'm doing, and just as just the beginning. It's not even. I just got my one woman. I don't even have children yet. But I have children. I have two, but I don't have my own natural yet. And so that's Yah is already going. I can see him triple, quadruple. I already see it. I mean, I see how Pastor lives. Pastor has no worries. He has everything he needs, and some, and to even give to another person. So
I think Paul said it: being content in many and being content in little.
I can relate to that saying. I know it's like to be in want, and I know it's like to be in need, and I'm in content in both situations. Hallelujah. I'm very content.
Well, brother, let's take a quick break. I know we probably people with some burning questions here, so let's take a quick ministry break, and we'll be back. And we'll take guys. We won't take too many questions, but we'll get to the questions that we can. So, because I know we're kind of running a little longer here, so we're gonna take a quick
get
break.
Some of these questions. There's some good questions here too. So tell them to send in their questions while we take this break.
Yes, sir. Go ahead and start bringing in your questions. We'll just do a Q&A, so you can sit there and look at it. So. Okay, break.
Yeah.
All right, guys, we're back. We are back.
You see any good questions in there?
Let's see here. So, guys, I know we were pretty thorough with at least the topic that we talked about. So, but if you guys have any questions pertaining to the topic of community, and obviously we won't touch on every single question just because we want to save some those answers for Brother Michael and on spiritual combat. But let's see here. What are you seeing, Brother Kabir?
Somebody's asking about is there a set aside time when community study together? We use our Shabbat time, right? Because a lot of we got people working, we got the sisters working. So he said, like, do we do set aside time to
but
study?
Tell them what we do on first day.
Oh yeah, I forgot. Yeah, we do. You tell them.
So on first days, so obviously we have the Shabbat.
I forgot we do that. Yeah,
starting Friday night, and then close to sundown, maybe an hour, I think, probably. Yeah, maybe an hour and a half.
Going into first day.
Before sundown on Saturday night, going into first day, we usually meet as a community, and that's really where we just touch base, right?
Yeah.
Everybody kind of shares what they've been going throughout the week, things that have been in terms of revelation. Some people like to talk about what they learned from the Shabbat message, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then after that, you usually give a message and kind of just do a study in
Mm-hmm.
a way,
Mm-hmm.
or a teaching for the community,
Mm-hmm.
and it's really interactive. People can ask questions.
Mm-hmm.
We can go, kind of back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's when I see you the most animated.
Yeah, exactly. So basically, I mean, it just depends. But I mean, I try to make sure we check in, and it's just more like we all can learn from each other, right? We live in community together. A lot of times we don't see a lot of the guys during the week. I mean, Shabbat, sometimes we see because they're working.
Even the sisters,
the sisters are working too. We don't see them until the end of the day. So, so we just try to say, what has Yah been showing you this week? What that you want to share that you think we can all. And every time, tell me if it's not. Does it seem like it's usually the same thing? It seems like we all just gleaning from each other and just learning. I mean, it's like. There's nothing new under the sun.
Because
because we live life together.
We live life together. A lot of questions get answered during the week. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, the sisters who do have covers go to their own husband for spiritual questions and Bible questions. So,
and then Leslie, he asked a question.
But you know what? We can talk about how we're doing the whole Bible reading.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yep. So right now we're doing a thing where I got the whole community. There's this app. I told you guys about the app. It's called the U version. And it's an app that allows you to do reading plans. And so in that reading plan, you can invite certain friends. So we have a community reading plan, and it's supposed to help you to read the Bible in a year. Now, obviously, it may not take us a year. Now we do, but you can see everybody reading. You can see who's behind, who's ahead. I think Sister Maya is she is faithful, and that's good. That's not. I say that. I mean, that's good that she's faithful. And
some of us, a few of us, got to get caught.
Some got to get caught. I'm
telling myself,
I got to get caught up. And some people, so that you can even see from there as you labor among who's going to be the faithful one. And Maya's not just reading it; she's actually leaving comments. Because it allows you to leave some comments behind of what you glean from it and stuff like that. So, so that's what I see as a community. I got who's faithful, who's doing this stuff, and who needs to grow. You can kind of tell just a little bit, So
what are you trying to say, brother?
Hey, I'm just saying.
I do need to grow.
Just getting there, yeah. So, but yeah, and then what now? I'm trying to understand. Brother Leslie asked a question about how does community members deal with chastisement. I don't. I'm assuming you're talking about when you're talking about correcting how we correct, correcting members. And that's I don't know if you can bring clarity to that, but I'm just going to answer it the way I think you're answering you're asking the question. Well, I mean, that's why we run a tight ship up here, and so if I have to make a correction, they handle it. These guys, they don't like to be corrected. They don't want to disappoint me, and I don't want
to let them know what a correction looks like, because a lot of people, when they think the word chastisement, they think about physical harm.
Yeah.
So what does a correction look like in the community?
How would you describe it? I'll let you describe it.
I mean, it's just it depends on what the situation is. So there's admonishments, there's reviews.
I know the last time when we had the other sister, I had to get to the point where I had to chew her out, because she just wasn't getting it. But a lot of time with the people that we have here now, it's just
reminders.
It's just reminders. It's more of a reminder.
It's not passive either.
No, it's not passive by no stretch of your imagination. Right. Just recently I had to do one.
With all the guys.
With the guys. I'll give you an example. There was a thing that needed to be done around the community that wasn't getting done. I'm just looking. I said, okay, and just looking. And I said, okay. And then the guys were saying that, well, I was waiting for him, or I was waiting for him. I said, okay. And so I just took the bull by the horn and said, okay, you in charge. You're responsible. I don't care. You're responsible, however that happens and stuff like that. And so I told them, and the guys took it well. I told all the sisters to dismiss, and I had to give them the guys, and I made the correction, And so that's kind of how we deal with it, But it wasn't like a chewing out. It may get to that. It can go to that, but we just got some faithful brothers that all you got to do is just kind of, give them a check, and they're going to respond the right way. So.
Yes, sir. Let's see.
Anything else
here? How do you deal with decisions within the household / community?
I just do what are you talking about?
I don't know. I think it's just maybe if we need to make a decision. I think he's going to the effect. Do you guys do like a democracy for voting? Or
no. So I make the decision. So whatever I think the house need, the community members could, they'll let Brother David knows what they need or whatever. But at the end of the day, I make that decision. So. If I want their counsel, I'll ask them their counsel. But at the end of the day, I make that decision. So it's not like a stressful thing where we got to make everybody happy, you know. But at the end of the day, I think I mean, when you say that the people are being taken care of,
it's not an environment where everyone's giving their opinions and everybody's and everybody's just doing or they're leaving whatever everybody else wants to do. But it is a righteous rule, and it actually takes the pressure off of everybody else, and unfortunately puts the pressure on you.
Yeah, it puts because I gotta make a decision,
And I usually, when you ask me for advice or guidance or whatever my opinion is, I give it as much as I know. But then you also consult with pastors, so you keep yourself accountable.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And just so it's really and Pastor Dow didn't micromanage me, I don't think he micromanaged any of and that was very surprising because when I was in Christianity, I felt that when they gave me a title or whatever position, I just felt like it was just for show, but it wasn't like I really was exercising anything, it was just more like, hey, KGB is doing this, but no, Pastor Dow has actually given me real people. I don't think they're actors, right? He gave me real saints, and that just knowing that I have real saints who are commandment keepers who believe in Jesus Christ, it actually humbles you. It makes you get on your knees and ask Yah for wisdom to lead his people. And so I can understand why Solomon asked Yah for wisdom to be able to judge his people righteously.
Right.
So I understand that.
That's good. We got one more. We have a couple more, I guess. Does every home fellowship transition into a community?
It can. That's the goal. That should be the goal. That's one of the things that Pastor Dow mentioned at the conference. He was like
that's the beginning step.
Everybody said, "Can we come?" He says, "Hey, just get 2 or 3 people that you
respect the
community. You guys live life together, and then from there, that's how Texas was. I mean, when I hear everything, Pastor Dow started that way. So just start off with 2 or 3. What is this? Where 2 or 3 are gathered. Start off there." And then from there,
And I think he also said that you got to lead by example. So if you want something done, do it yourself, and people will follow.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So
exactly.
Like Pastor was an example, and so on and so forth. So I don't think it's because there's another question is like, how can you meet up with and get to know who other people who have the same mindset?
Well, if you're watching this show, I mean, obviously, I'm always directing people to Straightway Truth. We're part of Straightway Truth Ministry. There's no mistake about it. I have my show, I have my community, but that's why it's called Straightway Praise Land. Praise Land was the name of the land that I gave this, and it's not Praise Land Straightway, it's Straightway Praise Land. So we are submitted to Pastor Dow as he is submitted to Christ Jesus. And so you call the number behind Pastor Dow's number. Call that number at I think it's 615.
Yeah, we have it in the description.
Okay, we have it in the description. Look at the description.
Every single video that we have.
And so call that and make yourself known. And if you make yourself known and they know where you're located, they can tell you what's the nearest fellowship. It could be an hour away, it could be 30 minutes away, it could be 2 hours away.
Hey, we moved.
And they're 3 hours away. So then eventually they're traveling, and then eventually they say, you know something, I'm done with this traveling. Let's just move. Let's just move together. And they decide that this will be the spot that they will move to. Right. And that's how community started. So, and it didn't take a year. It took 6 months? Yeah.
Let's see. I know Brother Chase was asking about the benefits of using a trust on community. I don't know if you can speak on that.
You just want to trust because I for sure, I believe I have a trust because if you don't have a trust, the government has they have a will for you or a trust for you. They will determine what happens. Well, because I'm the head of community, because this house is in my name, and I want to make sure that my community is taken care of, I need to have a trust in place that when something happens, my ex-wife can't come, my children with her can come and say that, hey, the government can't come. You never know what the government can do. But the trust just allows my wish to be done. So it takes it out of probate. If it goes into probate, now a judge will determine what's best to do with my property that I left behind. I don't want the judge to do that. Look, I was alive and the judge took my children away from me. Broke up family. So what do you think they're going to do with Straightway Truths, especially being the Hebrew Israelite community, commandment keepers? I'm being responsible by putting the stuff in the trust so that I can keep the community intact after I'm gone. And so the people that needs to know, the people that are trustees after me all knows who they are. And so that's why it's important to have a trust. If you don't do it, your property and anything you own will go through probate. Just like when my mom passed away, she didn't have a trust. And so everything went through probate. And so then you have the mercy of getting lawyers, spending money on lawyer fees. and going through judges, people come in and say, well, she owed me money, blah, 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 blah. And but the trust takes the court out of it. And it says the thing is going to be ran according to how he wanted. He made provisions of how he wanted stuff. And so I, as a financial advisor, telling you that is a responsible thing. If you are head of a community or just the head of your own household, you should have a trust. You should make sure you have your house in order, that if something does happen to you, that the ones that you love are taken care of. So it's just the natural progression to do. So anyway, that's generally, and depending on what you're trying to accomplish, there's different trusts for different things. So
yes, sir. Hallelujah.
I just don't want the government doing it. And everybody has it. Pastor Dow, myself, everyone. If you don't have a trust, if you don't have a will, they have one for you. And trust me, you do not want them to do it. You remember the guy Prince, the artist? Yeah. He didn't have a trust. Came in with all that money. And so he died estate. They call it a testate. And so that means the government determined where his stuff goes. And he had millions of dollars, hundreds of millions of dollars. Yes, and the government determined where that came from. So anyway, I hope I answered your question. So,
all right, guys, looks like that's pretty much it. A lot of the other questions that came earlier in the show were either answered already, or there's topics that we'll touch on the interview with us, Spiritual Combat. So, guys, so real quick, make a few more announcements. Like we just said, there's an interview coming up. Brother Kabir is going to get interviewed by.
I don't know what day. Do you know when?
We don't know yet.
Okay.
So unless he told us.
He didn't tell us, but
okay.
You just said. But it doesn't matter.
We'll get in contact with Brother Mike.
And I'm gonna try to get him on my show.
Yeah, I think that's what the plan is. Right?
Exactly,
so hopefully it works out. But yeah, so we're gonna be. Our Brother Kabir is going to be on the show, Spiritual Combat, coming up soon. We'll give you guys more details as we get it. So be on the lookout for that. You guys already know coming up this week is going to be Sister to Sisters every single Thursday at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. You don't want to miss it. Sister's been putting a lot of good videos out lately. You guys want to go check out their YouTube channel. It's called Straightway Help Meets. Straightway Help Meets.
If you really want to know about our sisters, if you want to see how oppressed they are, listen to the sisters. You're hearing them. And I think it's good for the brothers to listen to, because you want to make sure you know what your wife, if you have a woman, you want to know what she's listening to. But you can learn from it, because guess what? They just talk about what a bride does. You know, I'm not saying to learn from it, but just to be aware of what they're teaching you.
And they don't teach necessarily anything contrary.
No. They in line with Pastor Dow.
Exactly. Yeah. So we got that obviously every single Friday night, Shabbat night. I guess since it's summer, it's before Shabbat, but usually every Friday night at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, Pastor Dow does a blog talk radio show where you can call in and ask him questions. You know, he does get a lot of calls nowadays. So if he doesn't get to your call, don't be offended. Make sure you call that dining hall number and make yourself known. If you have a burning question for Pastor, Elder will get in touch with you. But yeah, that's that. Also, straightway.com. Every single Saturday morning at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time, there is a live Shabbat message from Straightway every single Shabbat. So make sure you guys go check that out. If you guys can't get it, because they do have their own server, if it's easier for you, if you're on the go or on your phone or tablet, smartphone, Roku as well, you can go to Straightway Live on YouTube. There's a channel up there. It's called Straightway Live, and they stream every single Shabbat, every Shabbat live there too. So anything else I'm missing, brother?
Well, I think you covered everything.
Last words, brother.
Well, guys, hey, once again, I'm always excited that you guys come on to the KGB Live Show. Just remember to be faithful in the little things. All right. Shalom, shalom.